was finally time. Silver Kit and Storm Kit had been waiting to be apprentices for many moons now. For those who are not aware of these two's history, let me fill you in. After what seemed to be a horrible rogue attack, both of their parents' bodies were found dead alongside their sibling, Rusted Kit, who was found by the Thunder Path. A Shadow Clan sheep cat named Haildrift immediately took the two orphans in and treated them like their own. It took a long time, but eventually the two kits began to move on with their lives and focus on becoming apprentices. And thankfully, the wait was over. Tonight, Dawnstar had called a meeting, and they both knew it was probably time. They were sitting next to their friend Bubblepaw, with Haildrift sitting nervously behind them. But first, Dawnstar had to announce one of the new warriors. Cougarpaw became Cougar Cover, and everyone in the camp cheered and called her by her new name. Next, Dawnstar spoke. "Stormkit, you have reached the age of 6 moons, and it's time for you to be apprenticed. From this day on, until you receive your warrior name, you will be known as Stormpaw. Your mentor will be Brindleshade. I hope Brindleshade will pass down all she knows on to you." Then finally, it was Silverkit's turn. She got the same speech as her brother, but her mentor was Riverhowl. And last but not least, their friend Bubblepaw had the mentor Marrowpatch. The three of them all were so excited. After the ceremony was dismissed, Silverpaw nervously approached her mentor. Hi." Riverhowl looked down to her apprentice and smiled warmly. "Hello, come sit next to me." Silverpaw nodded and shuffled over to sit next to her mentor. "Okay, have you ever had a apprentice before?" She looked up with her big green eyes as her mentor tilted her head slightly. "Not exactly, but I promise I will teach you well, Silverpaw." Silverpaw seemed satisfied with that answer and smiled. "Okay, I trust you. I just want to be really strong," she meowed loudly. "Wait, my brother!" She leaped to her paws and began to run off. "Hey, Storm! I got the best mentor!" Silverpaw was, and has always been, a very loud and energetic cat. Her brother, on the other hand, has always been a little bit more reserved and mature. "We'll see about that," Stormpaw responds. As the two siblings bicker, chatter can be heard around the clan. Little did the apprentices know that there was a war about to be started with ThunderClan. Dawnstar refused to settle anything other than with claws. Suddenly, Bubblepaw leaped in between them. "Silverpaw! Stormpaw! I can't believe it!" All the mentors watched them curiously. Silverpaw rolled her eyes. "Oh yeah, Bubblepaw." Bubblepaw didn't seem to hear or mind and continued. "We are finally apprentices! We will grow up and be leaders and deputies and," she continued excitedly. Suddenly realizing how childish she had been, she blushed out of embarrassment. "After a lot of hard work, of course." Silverpaw was already bored and spoke up. "Maybe we can all train together." Marrowpatch nodded and agreed. "It is a little crowded. Let us all go outside." "Come along, Bubblepaw," she said as she walked out of camp. "We're all gonna go on a walk! Let's go!" Silverpaw yelled before chasing after them. "Whoa, it's so cool out here," Silverpaw remarked. It had been a long time since they were outside of camp. It was snowing before, and it was nice now. Everything was green. She gracefully walked beside Riverhowl as the group of them went farther away from camp. Marrow Patch had taken them to a small pond nearby. "Water!" Bubblepaw squeaked. "Whoa!" Silverpaw couldn't help but remark. She looked around before quickly pushing Bubblepaw into the water. Unable to control herself, she started laughing and splashing at the water as Bubblepaw struggled to get back up and coughing a little. When suddenly Dawnstar approached with a huge patrol. "Come with me." "We must hurry, Dawnstar. ThunderClan is likely waiting," the deputy called out. Silverpaw watched in awe as the cats were talking back and forth, the mentors trying to explain they were out here training, but Dawnstar demanding that they join in the attack. "They will go back to camp," Dawnstar said firmly. "Cougar cover, guard the camp." The mentors looked at each other and sighed. There was no arguing with Dawnstar at this point. Marrow Patch looked at the apprentices. "Back to camp, now." Silverpaw glared. "Why?" But before she could say anything else, she was shot a very angry glance. "Fine, we'll go back," Silverpaw said, feeling defeated. She was tempted to sneak off, but Bubblepaw was right there. It wouldn't be easy to lose someone as clingy, so the two of them headed back to camp. During the trip, Bubblepaw spoke up. "Where is Storm, anyway?" Silverpaw stopped for a moment. "Not sure. I haven't seen him since the ceremony." Probably back at camp, honestly." Silverpaw nodded. "Let's go!" And the two of them ran off. Back at camp, she zoomed past Cougar Cover to find Stormpaw just kind of sitting. "Stormpaw, I was worried," she said. "I'm all right," Stormpaw said, tilting his head. "Dawnstar came, and everyone left. They're going to war." Suddenly, Haildrift came running over. "Stormpaw! Silverpaw!" "Oh, hi, Haildrift. We're okay," Silverpaw responded, not wanting her foster mother to worry. Bubblepaw came over, out of breath, and flopped down. "I lost you," she mewed. "It's not my fault you have short legs," Silverpaw responded. Another apprentice, Volpaw, joined in on the conversation as Brindleshade and Haildrift watched over the apprentices. "Silverpaw, Stormpaw, Volpaw, I know a good game to play," Bubblepaw spoke up. Silverpaw sighed and stood up, just as Stormpaw did. "Your games are never that fun." "Come on," Bubblepaw insisted. She laughed and followed Bubblepaw over to the Elder's Den. "No, this one's the best." A nervous Haildrift walked over and watched them, just as Volpaw spoke up. "Better not be a kick game," he snorted. However, Silverpaw noticed her brother sneaking out of camp, and she wasn't about to let him do that alone, so she bolted for the exit. She did her best to keep her belly to the ground and follow him. Brindleshade also followed, but she didn't think that either of them saw her. Finding a nice bush, she laid down and listened to the conversation. It didn't take long for Volpaw and Bubblepaw to find her, but thankfully they just quietly stayed in the bush next to her. "Shh, I'm listening," she said to them both. Brindleshade finally spoke up. "You shouldn't wander off on your own." "Sorry, I just needed to get some air," Stormpaw responded. Volpaw and Bubblepaw were bickering about something, but Silverpaw decided to just ignore them, when suddenly Haildrift spotted them and smiled. She wouldn't give away their secret. She was a cool mom. Brindleshade looked down at her apprentice and sighed. That's fine, but with all that's going on between the clans right now, it's not really safe. Stormpaw simply looked at the ground, not responding. It seemed like there was something on his mind. His eyes finally looked up off the ground and over to the road that laid beyond the forest.
Fight? Yes, please, Bubblepaw meowed. Bubblepaw, blah, blah, blah. Shh.
Silverpaw put a paw over Bubblepaw's mouth. Have you heard of a cat named Mason? Stormpaw finally spoke. The mentor's ears perked up, glancing over at her apprentice. Heard some things. Why? Silverpaw dug her claws into the dirt. They had promised they would never say that name again. She continued to listen. He killed our mother, Stormpaw said. Silverpaw saw him do it. Silverpaw leaped out of the bush. No, I didn't! Stormpaw, hush! And when I'm a warrior, I'm going to kill him for what? Stormpaw stopped as his sister approached him. Yes, you did, Stormpaw demanded. No, it was just a random rogue, she hissed. Volpaw and Bubblepaw slowly left the bush to see what was happening. Hildreth also realized that the two were fighting and quickly came over, concerned. Stormpaw began to speak. And stopped talking. Besides, that rogue is gone now anyways. We never saw him again. Brindleshade was a little startled and frowned, looking down at the young Stormpaw. Warriors do not need to kill to win. If you kill him, you will be no better than he is. All the apprentices began to talk amongst each other as Stormpaw just quietly turned and walked away. Stormpaw, Brindleshade said softly under her breath and took off after her apprentice. The cats tried to come back to her, but she hissed, "Leave me alone!" Running away from them, she bumped into her mentor. Hey, River Howl, how is the fight? River Howl sighed as Silverpaw approached her. It was bloody. I'm glad you weren't there. Silverpaw fiddled with a blade of grass. Did we win? Her mentor nodded, just as they could hear yowls from their clanmates that there was a meeting. They both managed to make it back on time, but Dawnstar was nowhere to be seen. It was announced that Dawnstar had lost his last life in the battle, but they had won. Marrowpatch would now become Marrowstar and lead Shadow Clan. After the meeting was dismissed, she quickly trotted over to the apprentice den, feeling sleepy. She spotted her brother curled up on a nest. Stormpaw, are you asleep? No, he eventually grumbled. Then why did you have to talk about him today? Stormpaw just laid there in silence, not responding and staring into his paws. Silverpaw hissed under her breath, getting up and pawing at him rather hard. Wake up! She stood on top of him, not moving until he acknowledged her. When suddenly Bubblepaw and Marrowstar entered the apprentice den, she shook her pelt just as Stormpaw leaped up. I'm awake. The leader looked over at them with a worried expression. I didn't see you in camp when I got back. She was mostly looking at Stormpaw, her eyes even maybe accusing. Stormpaw was sleeping, and I was at your meeting, Silverpaw quickly responded to defend her brother. Immediately after, another warrior entered. Maristar, it's important. Maristar seemed to be happy enough with that answer, and she turned to speak to her apprentice. Silverpaw was looking around all of this commotion in the apprentice den, just as she heard her brother mumble something. I'm gonna kill him one day. Yeah, right. Whatever, just go back to sleep, she hisses as she leaves the den. She slips right out of camp and just doesn't stop walking. Her walks turn into runs. Finally, she finds the place she's looking for. Beyond the thunder path is a beautifully green, lush forest. Leaping up onto a old stump, she lays down and just listens to all the sounds of the forest. Everything was quiet. When suddenly, loud footsteps could be heard approaching. They stop about a fox length away from the stump. A large, dark-coated, muscular Tom stares. Hello, Silverpaw, he says, leaping up onto the stump. Dad! Silverpaw mews, running over and pushing her forehead into his chest. He smiles at his daughter, curling his tail around her. It's been so long. I thought you would never come back. It's good to see you. How is Shadow Clan? The Tom asks. We're doing okay. We're fighting with Thunder Clan, though. Oh, Mason asks. And Stormpaw is acting all weird. Weird? How? Well, she began to mumble nervously. He what, Silverpaw? Mason asks. He mentioned you to his mentor. We're apprentices now. Mason's stern face broke into a gentle smile. That's all right. I told him to shut up, but he got mad at me, Silverpaw sighs. Hey, it's okay, Silverpaw. I can handle a few Shadow Clan cats if they come after me. He couldn't help but chuckle, nuzzling her reassuringly. Okay, I just don't want to lose any more parents. You're all I have. Small teardrops began to fall down her face as she pushed her head more into Mason's fur. There was another bit of silence. Finally, he spoke. You know why I had to kill your mother, right? Silverpaw froze. I know. She lied, right? And lying is really bad. Yes, the Tom spoke. You never want to lie to the ones you love. Mason nodded. She lied to me and to you. To everyone, Silverpaw responded. That's right, Mason smiled. It's just Stormpaw doesn't see it that way. I want to tell him that you still love us, but I know he will just be mad. That's all right, Silverpaw. Not everyone sees things the same.
Yeah, too bad for him, but that just means we can keep hanging out without Stinky Stormpaw.
Mason simply smiled and looked down at his daughter. I want to be big and strong, just like you. One day you will, he reassured her.
Really? You promise?
She asked, looking up at him with her big green eyes. Of course. I can even train you. I'll be your secret mentor, he explained.
Really? I would love that. Riverhowl is okay, but you're way stronger.
You may be my daughter, but don't expect me to go easy on you.
Don't worry, I won't go easy on you either. I'm strong.
She gently begins to claw at the log in an attempt to show how strong she is. Oh, I bet that would have hurt a cat, he smirked. I should head back, Silverpaw frowned, not wanting to leave. Everyone will be worried about me. Be careful crossing the thunder path. Of course, I'm super fast. Tomorrow, I'll be here again, okay? Of course. She nuzzles Mason before leaping off and heading back to camp. Silverpaw managed to sneak back into the camp, no problem. She spotted Vole. Hey, Volepaw.
Yeah?
The apprentice asked. Have you seen Bubblepaw or Stormpaw around? It was then when Sparrowpaw spat out a moss ball. Stop bothering Volepaw, Silverpaw, he snapped at her. Volepaw rolled his eyes. No. Silverpaw glared at both of them. She hisses at Sparrow and turns to sulk off. She wasn't in the mood to deal with those two mouse brains. Unfortunately, Marrowstar held another meeting, and she had to go back out with everybody. Nothing really important happened, but she couldn't help but notice that Volepaw and Sparrowpaw were picking on another apprentice. Finally, she walked over.
Knock it off! Funny you'd step in, Volepaw sneered. Nobody asked you, Silverpaw, Sparrowpaw snapped. What is that supposed to mean? She hissed at Volepaw.
Some of the other apprentices began to join and try to calm Silverpaw down, but Sparrowpaw wouldn't stop. Mind your own business, why don't you? Finally, something in her just snapped, and she tackled Sparrowpaw. Just as Stormpaw walked up, what's going on? Stormpaw simply watched as Silverpaw and Sparrowpaw were clawing and hissing at each other, fighting in the middle of camp. Within a few moments, Marrowstar was walking over. She grabbed Silverpaw by the scruff and pulled her off. That's enough! She glared at Stormpaw. He didn't even try to help her. Marrowstar bared her fangs towards the young cats. I want everyone in the apprentice den, now.
I'll never be in a den with Sparrowpaw, Silverpaw hisses.
Fine. Stormpaw, Silverpaw, my den. Silverpaw sighs as she follows Marrowstar into the leader's den, soon after her brother Stormpaw approaching. What was that? Marrowstar spoke, settling into her own nest. Silverpaw simply looked away. After a weird, awkward silence, she mumbled, Nothing. Stormpaw was the next to speak. Silverpaw, what's wrong with you? Nothing! Why does everyone keep saying that? She hisses. You're acting so Weird, Stormpaw responds. No, I'm not! And what about you? Meristar glared at Stormpaw. Your mentor has been reporting you missing multiple times. Silverpaw's ears perked up. Where had Stormpaw been running off to? But she quickly focused back on what was happening. I'm sorry, Stormpaw apologized. Silverpaw simply stayed silent. Meristar continued to speak with the two apprentices, threatening that their warrior ceremony could be delayed if they don't mature. Stormpaw finally spoke up. Meristar, can I go? Silverpaw's ears were burning. She was furious on the inside. Who needed stupid clan or a stupid leader? Then I don't want to see it again. I want both of you working with your mentors individually for the next few days. Okay, Silverpaw responded, just wanting this to be over with already. The leader sighed. Take some time for yourselves, and for StarClan's sake, come to me if something is wrong, okay? Now go on, she finally spoke as the two apprentices almost ran out of there. Silverpaw headed straight for the apprentice's den. She was exhausted, but Stormpaw went to go find his mentor. Brindleshade? Sorry about earlier. It's alright. Just make sure you tell me next time you go out of camp. Stormpaw nodded and quickly turned to the apprentice den himself, curling up as all of the apprentices were finally calm for once. You could hear little mews and snores as they slept, when suddenly everything begins to fade to white. You now see a small StarClan cat sitting in front of you that you recognize as Littlesprout. Hi guys! Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I've heard all of your comments saying that you really wanted me to continue the story with our kids, and I was kind of planning on that, so it all worked out. I hope you guys liked it. So this was kind of semi-planned. Some of the people that are in this roleplay are the same as the original story. And Mason's the same, all of that fun stuff, and yeah, I hope you like this. If you like this kind of content, please feel free to subscribe. We have a community Discord where we can post fan art and we talk about episodes and stuff like that. Leave a comment if you want to, and a like, and I will start working on the next part. Bye guys!